Welcome everyone to the Monday, January 13th meeting of the Pine Bluffs Town Council. Will everyone rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Second item is the oath of office for newly elected officials.
Okay. Should we do it over here?
Yeah, that'd be
You
great.
good with that? You go first. Let's let the mayor go first. Raise your right hand. Yeah. Repeat after me. I, Justin Hornstrom,
I, Justin Hornstrom,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming,
and all local ordinances,
and all local ordinances,
that I have not knowingly violated any law
that I have not knowingly violated any law
related to my appointment or caused it to be done by others,
related to my appointment or caused it to be done by others,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations. You are the mayor.
I grabbed the picture, you had your hand up,
Okay.
but at the end, I would like everybody.
Okay?
Can we do ours together at the same time?
No. No, sorry. Okay. Please raise your right hand. I, Alexandra Litza,
I, Alexandra Lisa,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Wyoming,
and all local ordinances,
and all local ordinances,
that I have not knowingly violated any law related to my appointment
that I have not violated any law related to my appointment
or caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and I will discharge my duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations. Yes. Yay. Please raise your right hand. I, Janet Hessner,
I, Janet Hester,
do solemnly swear that I support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming,
and all local ordinances,
and all local ordinances,
that I have not knowingly violated any law related to my appointment,
that I have not knowingly violated any law
related to
related to my appointment,
or caused it to be done by others,
or caused it to be done by others,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Now I want everybody back in.
You come up here.
Is he picking on your height?
Tall, short.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. On to new business. First item under new business is resolution 2025-01, a resolution amending the Town of Pine Bluffs fiscal year 24-25 budget to capture revenue related to Amendment 1 to ARPA Local Government Grant 1185 from the Wyoming Office of State Lands and Investments.
I move to adopt resolution 2025-01.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2025-01. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution adopted. Item number 2 is resolution 2025-02, a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the warranty deed and any other financial closing documents for the sale of the property located at Lot 44, Foxtail Avenue in Pine Bluffs, Laramie County, Wyoming.
I move to adopt resolution number 2025-02.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2025-02. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution adopted. Next item on our agenda is the visitor comments.
Looks like I'm the only one, eh?
Sure.
Okay.
Can we have you come to the microphone?
Oh,
Tell us who you are, where you live, all that good stuff.
my name's Doyle Egley. I live here in Pine Bluffs. And I received this letter. I'm sure all of you, some of you received it, I don't know, about this carbon sequestration that they're wanting to do. And I'm wondering how we're standing on this thing.
Like as a municipality?
I mean, are we opposing it, or are we in favor of it, or,
We are not opposing it, to my knowledge.
and why not? Of all the places in the state of Wyoming, of all the open spaces, why do they have to put it in a populated area?
Well, they're not putting it in our town.
Well,
They're putting it southwest of town.
well, they draw their line over, but that ain't the way the ground
They
works.
didn't
of
lease
course.
any land in the town of Pine Bluffs proper, so, which means technically speaking, they don't think any of the dead space, pore space should be under the town of Pine Bluffs, otherwise they would have been required to lease our property, lease your property.
Well, I mean, that just ain't the way the earth works. That it can spread anywhere once it's under the bedrock. It just starts spreading out. The more they put in, the more it spreads. It could go anywhere.
All I can tell you about that, and I'll let others speak to this, but we've had various meetings, we've had a few internal meetings, there's been a minimum of 3 opportunities to publicly comment or to go to public meetings held by Tallgrass and Pine Bluffs. I'm just being honest with you, this is the first opposition I've heard to it.
Well, this is the first I've heard of. I got this letter in the mail, and I'm like, what's going on here?
I can tell you that it's been explained to us, or to myself anyway, that, they're using the best of their engineering knowledge to understand what the pore space looks like, and theoretically, no, it's not going to impact the town of Pine Bluffs. And I will point out, whatever side of the issue you may be on, it's CO2, which is free in the atmosphere already.
But not in this concentration. If a fissure develops in this strata, it could seep right up through here, and anybody who's standing next to that fissure is gonna die. Because that CO2 ain't as bad as CO, carbon monoxide, but it still displaces air. And if anybody's standing next to a leak of this, they're gonna suffocate and die. And I just don't know that this is still, I know they say they've been doing it for 50 years, but this is still new technology. And we don't know, and they're gonna drill these monitoring wells all around it, but it says they're, the way I understood it here, it says they're only gonna monitor it for a period of time, not forever.
Yeah,
that's
I
something I
can't,
think we
can't
should talk
explain
about
to you
is-
all the science that goes along with this. I wouldn't even begin to fake it like I could, other than, I guess they've convinced me through the various meetings I've sat through that it's not an issue. And frankly, from the town of Pine Bluffs perspective, you know, they've permitted these wells, or at least one of them. And my understanding is that permitting comes with the science that says where it's gonna go when it gets underground. They weren't required to lease any ground in the town of Pine Bluffs proper because it's not going to come here.
Well,
That's-
where
that's
exactly,
right.
it doesn't actually say where they're gonna drill these wells at on this map. I mean, is it gonna be out here in the middle of it? You know, give it less chance of getting here, I mean, it's right underneath the town of Carpenter. But, you know, you draw a line around a town and say, well, it ain't gonna go there, but you don't know, there's no way they can actually predict. I mean, after I got this, I started reading up on this stuff, you know, there's no way to actually predict exactly where it's gonna go because nobody knows what the strata looks like 2 miles down. You know, there could be a crack somewhere and it'll go over here or there, who knows where it could end up. And they're gonna keep pumping more and more. I'm guessing this is gonna be coming from different parts of the United States, not just Wyoming. They're gonna be pumping, bringing it in, because that's their business. So, really, I don't know why you haven't questioned this a little bit more, because there's no reason it needed to be put in a highly populated area. I mean, we ain't talking like eastern Nebraska or something population, but we're talking a lot of people live in this area. And if this leaks up through the ground, somebody could get hurt. When we got all this open ground, you know, you got the whole Powder Basin up there has very little occupation on it other than coal mines. This all could have been pumped down underneath coal mine. Maybe they're trying to do that too, I don't know, but.
They are.
Okay, so basically I just wanna say I'm not in favor of this.
Okay.
And I don't, you know, I'd like to go protest, but what's the deal with having the meeting in Casper? This is something that affects Laramie County. Why aren't we having the public meeting here in Laramie County?
And they have had, they've had public meetings in Pine Bluffs, they've had them in Carpenter, I don't know about.
They've
about
had them
Burns.
in Kimball.
Well, I think that's something that
They've had them all over.
we should have been notified of. I mean, not just see it on Facebook, because I don't use the Facebook hardly ever. You know, this is something we should have been notices sent out with our town bill or something letting us know that they're gonna do this. Because I don't, you know, I've not heard anybody talk about it. This is the first I've ever heard of it.
Well,
And if there had been meetings, if I'd have known about meetings, I would have been there a long time ago.
Doyle, I certainly appreciate your concern and your research into this. Although, while I think you're right, we probably could have done a better job of getting this information out to our residents. It's also not our responsibility to tell you when a meeting ran by a meeting ran by another entity. So it's kind of this weird blurred line of whose
Well,
responsibility
I
it
disagree
is.
with that. I think anything that affects this town is your guys' responsibility. And you should notify everybody
They
that this is going on. This ain't a meeting that's, just because somebody else is putting it on has no bearing. This affects the town of Pine Bluffs. I know they conveniently drew a line, one section over and section and a half over and up to go around the town of Pine Bluffs, but that don't really convince me. I mean, you know, they got all these straight lines here and gas don't travel in a straight line, so.
Just for my 2 cents, whatever that means. I do agree that we, as a town entity, probably could have done a better job, because at least from my perspective, I remember us talking about it a couple months ago, and I at least didn't hear or connect the dots with Tallgrass and this particular thing again. And it wasn't until I got it in the mail that I was like, oh, right. And then I didn't realize, and again, this is whack on my part for not being quite as involved in this particular thing, realizing it was this close to being like a done thing until I got it in the mail as well. So I understand where you're coming from. I also feel, and Justin can correct me if I'm wrong, there's not much we can do about it as a town entity, in terms of stopping.
I
Well, I
think we
don't know
could
about
express
that.
our concern, like anyone could express their concern. But I'm telling you, the reason we didn't jump up and down about it is because it's explained to us through the science they had and through, I assume, the science they used to gain a permit in the state of Wyoming for a Class 5 well. I assume that all of that was fully vetted. And I'm not telling you that that makes it right, I'm just saying, from our perspective, they weren't leasing any pore space under the town of Pine Bluffs. And therefore, you know, but it didn't bubble to the top that it's something that we should alert our citizens to. I'm not, you know, you're welcome to feel how you feel about it. I'm just telling you where we were and where we are now.
Well, I understand, but I'm saying now that we should be questioning this a little bit more. I mean, you went to some of these meetings, I'm guessing, that they had. Was a Wyoming state geologist there to tell you what was happening? Because he's the guy who knows about the Wyoming, the earth around in Wyoming. So.
There's a lot of folks there from the university and other places. I can't speak to the state geologist, but that's part of the School of Energy Resources now, and they were there.
I think the state engineering office was also represented, and then they have various contractors with geophysical, seismic. I think throughout the course of these meetings, I believe that most of them were represented from the very beginning.
Well, okay.
I
guess-
think the lapse is the people who got specifically notified were the people who had pore space. Those were, you know, that was what was critical to them to get the, although it was publicly advertised, but I'm saying you know, given that it didn't involve the landowners in the town of Pine Bluffs, I'm guessing there were not direct notifications, and
Well, I
we
mean,
could have.
they must have some kind of idea because they did send notices to the townspeople too. So there must be something that they want us to be aware, suddenly they want us to be aware of, so.
Is there something you would like us to do, perhaps as a town, write a letter asking for more information we could send out in letters or post, make it available? Is there
Well, that
something?
might be an idea. I see nobody else seems to care, so.
I have seen people on Facebook concerned. I actually brought the letter today asking Justin to address it, so.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, it makes me nervous. Because I understand they gotta do this, they gotta do something with it, can't let it be out in the atmosphere, but, I don't know, I don't think this is the way to go, but.
You'd asked the question about why here, and I think I might be able to speak to part of that. When I talked to one of Tallgrass's representatives the night they had the meeting here, he explained that they had a pipeline already through this area. It carries gas going east, and it was empty coming back west. And so it's natural to follow that same pipeline, and I don't know if it terminates here, but it definitely comes through our county.
Yes.
And so that had a lot to do with why they selected our location to actually do the sequestration.
In addition to the pore space was proper in their mind, whatever criteria they used for the type of pore space that needed to be that was also found west of here
Yeah.
and east of here.
Okay, I mean, you guys have already made up your minds and are not gonna oppose it, so there ain't much I can say.
Well, it's something
guess
that
I'll have to go to
I'll
Casper
give
to
more
this
thought
meeting.
to, but obviously I've also sat through a lot of informational stuff that maybe you haven't, and maybe I'm getting the wrong information and you're getting the right information, but I'm just saying that's what I've based. There was no decision to be made, in my mind. But obviously, we have an opportunity here if,
Was
Well, I
there,
mean, as a town, we oppose this and say, we don't want it we don't want none of this within 10 miles of our city, of our town, they would have to, at some point, recognize that. And we might have to battle with them or something, but I'd feel a lot better. But then, of course, there's all the other people that live out there in the middle of it too, that I don't understand why people just don't have a concern about it. It kind of strikes me as odd. I expected to have a full house here with tonight, but.
is there
Okay, well-
monitoring on the town's end we could do somehow, or that we are aware of, maybe?
Well, it hasn't been
Or-
finalized yet, since
Well,
they
yeah,
gotta have this
when it
meeting in
happens.
Casper yet, but.
When it more than likely happens, is there something that, I don't know, Kim?
Well, I guess,
I think
I'd have to ask.
as a person who answers the phone line of a landowner that this affects, they are very good about telling you when they're in the area, so, I mean, I guess that's probably something we could have them tell people as well. I don't,
when is the meeting?
February 11th.
We'll see what we can do.
yeah, cause I mean, it's gas, unless they can't drill down 2 miles and put a wall around it to keep it from going outside of these predetermined drawed lines they have here. Now, I'm guessing they're not planning on being out that far, but they've leased all that area to cover it, but still.
But just to be clear, and I'm not arguing with you about this, but we store natural gas and other gases in lots of underground formations across this country. Once again, I can't, I don't know
Well,
the statistics on the safety, but we allow that to happen with the best possible science. So I assume they've used similar science to figure this out.
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
I ain't opposed to putting it underground. I'm opposed to putting it underground where there's such a high population. Where if something does go wrong, somebody's gonna get hurt, is
Yep.
my concern.
Well, thank you for bringing that to
Underground
us.
sequestration is, I know they say it's supposed to be safe, but it shouldn't be done in a populated area anyway, so. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doyle.
Any other visitor comment? Department reports.
I have nothing.
I don't have any apartment report, but I did want to voice some concern about snow removal. I know that the town adopted a snow removal plan last year, and we're doing our best to implement that. But I know
I know.
sometimes our residents don't always shovel off their sidewalks, and I guess I would ask as a courtesy that we consider doing that in an expedient fashion, so that we don't put other people at risk who might traverse across our sidewalk or across our driveway or things of that nature. It's just a concern that I have.
I would add to that, Leanne or Kim, do you know, I mean, I doubt this, but is there anything in our ordinance that, I think there's some, and we discussed it earlier, there's some fundamental misunderstanding on the part of some homeowners that because the easement from the town goes sometimes 8 to 10 feet onto the person's property, which would encompass the sidewalk somehow, that's the town's responsibility to keep the sidewalk because it's within that easement zone. We know that is not the case, but do we have,
Yes, our ordinance states that the residents are responsible out to the curb,
sure,
as well as
a certain amount in the alley in back of their house, so I think it's to the center line of the alley.
Okay.
Not that we would expect them to shovel the alley, but definitely the sidewalks. And
do
I
you know, is
believe our
there-
ordinance states that they need to keep the sidewalk clear.
Okay. Do you know, is there any kind of a timeline to do that?
I can't quote what our ordinance says.
Maybe that's something that we could
We can definitely,
research.
yeah, we can definitely put a post out there and
Perfect.
get information out to folks. And in fact, I'll get that information to the Pine Bluffs Post as well, so that they can put something in there as well.
Sure.
Just a reminder.
Okay.
Well, I would agree, people need to remember that it's not just their own beneficial use of the sidewalk in front of their house, it's kids walking to school, it's, other people traversing the town that enjoy walking in the winter, but they also enjoy walking on the sidewalk. And, yeah, it's nobody's favorite thing to do, but it is part of home ownership, and to the best of everyone's ability, if we could stay after that, that'd be good. But if we could look it up and
Yep.
remind our residents on the website and Facebook.
What if nobody walks by your house? You still have to clean your walk?
You are in a unique situation, and so, in the interest of fairness, probably, but,
Okay, I'll
okay,
tell Vic.
whatever.
I'm not gonna take it.
You knew the answer to that already.
I don't think I have anything.
I don't have much. When winter conference is the 22nd through the 24th, it looks like they're gearing up with all sorts of interesting things, but mostly gearing up for legislative session that begins tomorrow. So they're working hard on all of our, in all of our interests. Looks like they're already tracking 64 bills and expecting many more to come. So we'll just keep our ear to the ground on what they send our way.
Alex.
Straight and level.
Chief Smith?
No, I don't have anything. I will add though, the ordinance on keeping sidewalks clear, all tree limbs, snow, it says it in there, but it also says reasonable amount of time, I believe. It doesn't give the actual
Right.
time frame, but, I would.
So what you're saying is before April?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know there's no specific ordinance on when it needs to be removed.
Well,
There
actually,
is, but
yeah,
we do have one for the sidewalks.
yep.
I don't
Actually,
think there's an actual time frame on that.
well, it doesn't list a time frame, but it does state if the owner or occupant fails to remove the snow within 48 hours, then we can hire somebody to do it and charge the resident. So, I mean, we have not done anything like that in the past, but I can tell you in the city of Cheyenne, it's within 24 hours after
is.
the snow stops falling. So, so here, it leads me to believe that it's 48 hours.
Well, I'm not too interested in handing out citations at this point.
Right.
But, you know, maybe
Yes.
more, make it a point of information for residents who may not otherwise know about it.
You approach it from the angle of safety,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely.
Somebody's walking on the sidewalk, slips and falls in front of your house,
You're liable.
you're liable, yeah.
For sure. Thank you. Leanne?
Let's see, the only update I have is our timekeeping and timesheets, all that have moved over to ADP. We started our first payroll today with them, we're gonna finish it tomorrow morning, so I think once we get through it a few times, it'll be much smoother. So,
Great.
yep, that's about it.
Kim?
I don't have any updates.
Nobody did anything over Christmas, I
Yeah.
guess. I expected stories of great things, but nobody wants to share. So, anyway, okay, announcements and meetings.
Our next meeting is January 29th. It should be,
Well, technically, the 22nd is the fourth Wednesday, if you actually include New Year's Day in that.
Yeah, I'm unavailable the 29th, cause I had it down as the 22nd
Yes,
as the meeting date.
so it can definitely be the 22nd. It was just a misread of the calendar.
It was a misread?
I think we were thinking that it was
We
too
were
close
blowing
to
off New
this
Year's Day.
meeting,
Yeah,
because that's next
It's supposed to
Wednesday.
be the fourth Wednesday.
yes, it is.
Yes.
So it should be the 22nd.
Just the holiday that threw.
The holiday threw us off.
Okay.
Mhm.
So are you saying it's wrong on here, or you
It's
just?
wrong on the agenda.
Okay, I thought you were telling me that you needed it to be moved to the 29th.
No.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm gonna be here on the 22nd. Is that, speaking of that, since we haven't wasted too much time, do we have a conflict?
We do. That is membership dinner for Wham. I believe that starts at 6 that night.
Do we have the cow meeting or the?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I can skip that or whatever.
Have them come back. You're already there?
Well, that one, they're not starting much until Thursday evening, which is unusual.
Yeah, it is.
How far in advance?
Wednesday evening.
Yeah, Wednesday evening, that's what or,
I knew what you meant.
How far in advance do we have to give notice of the meeting change?
24 hours, correct? Yes.
Okay.
but I guess you wouldn't really have to notice it if it's the fourth Wednesday, so it should actually be.
It should be the 22nd. It's really a typo on the agenda that we put it down as the 29th.
Yeah.
It was completely my oversight, so sorry about that error.
So I'm unlikely to attend that other meeting, so I don't have much dog in this fight. If,
You will.
It's a membership dinner. If it's pertinent for me to be here, I'm happy to be
You're a
here.
politician, Al, you gotta go to dinner.
no, I really do wanna leave that open for you if that, I mean, that's part of our duty. You know, you're our representative for Wham, so you need to tell us if,
So is Monday the 27th an option?
it's fine for me.
Yeah, I mean, that works for,
Works for me.
Work has a basketball game at 6:45.
Of course.
It's a quick meeting.
right?
It
Well,
probably will be.
the
We're gonna have
workshop
a
will be-
workshop before.
Yeah.
the workshop will be
We'll
more
do the
detailed
workshop
than the meeting.
before.
Then I should be okay.
Yeah, I am available.
If I leave at 6:30, it's not because I'm like angry. Prior obligations.
We know.
So, I just wanna, like, we constantly running into this since, especially since we switched in 2 meetings, if I want your expert, municipal legal opinion about how often one can move these meetings without seeming willy-nilly about it. We're certainly not trying to do it to, there's just so many meetings that we're trying to accommodate.
Yeah, I mean, legally, I don't think there's exposure on that as long as you announce them. But it's been a bit of a mumbly peg thing with the meetings here.
I think, I don't mean to revisit this, but I don't know if it's because we picked Wednesday meetings or we did something, but man, have we had a struggle since we've went back to 2 meetings and one of them's been on a
Yeah.
Wednesday. We've had a real struggle, and I don't wanna be constantly moving the meetings. And I can understand skipping the second one in December, there's nothing going on, it's Christmas, like, I'm good with that, but it's the actual physical moving of And one of the problems on Mondays, there tends to be holidays and,
Well, and this Monday's also when the school board meets, so I know people go to those as well. Or listen to those.
You know, that's, we used to be two, and it was always Mondays. I think
Alan
I
changed
think it
to
was
one.
first and third for a
Yeah.
while, and then it went to second and fourth and back to first
Yeah.
and somewhere along the line, and it's been a while, they came to the conclusion there just really wasn't enough business. I mean, it took longer to get everybody here than to actually do the business. And so, but, I mean, your stipend depends on going to meetings. So, you know, I think that the council at that time, you know, felt like, you know, 2 meetings was great, but 1 meeting, it was worth more to them to just have 1 and not 2. And about that same time, or shortly thereafter, and I think Alan was, you know, a part of that reasoning. That's kind of where the notion came to be of having an administrator rather than other specific offices. And so, you know, a lot of those administrative decisions were handed off. And that, you know, kind of cut back on the number of things that had to be deliberated by the governing body. So it was, I think it was 1 meeting for probably, I don't know, 10 years maybe? Was it 1 meeting when you
No,
came?
It was
No, it
2
was
when I
2,
started.
yeah, it was just.
Was it 2 and then it went to 1?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when
Yes.
Justin became mayor, it went back to 2.
Yeah.
we kept it 1
For quite
For a while.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was 1 for a while.
And I don't, like, honestly, it's been a tough winter for that. We've completely blown our schedule out of the water here. We've finished the last 2 meetings in roughly 15 minutes. And I'm not proud of that. I'm just saying there's been, you know, you go through these times when there's just really not a lot that's going on, and, you know, and frankly, to your point on that, I don't wanna spend the council meeting talking about how we all decided that cleaning up the dog mess in city parks better than not cleaning it up. I mean, like, those decisions to me, don't rise to the level of being in a public meeting. I understand that over the years, those decisions have been in public meetings, and I'm not making fun of that, I'm just saying that, like, it's awkward to try to find the right spot, but I'm just saying, personally, whether we need to revisit looking at the days or how we do it, but we seem to have, you know, we have a conflict with quarterly meetings, we have conflicts with this, and I don't know if it's all, I'd have to think back if it's the Wednesday part that's been a pretty solid conflict with various things. I think we should have, I think we should move the meeting though to, all that being said, the next meeting, I believe we should move to the 27th of January, Monday, the 27th of January, following the 4:30 workshop, 6 o'clock council meeting format. And between then and now, I think people on the council and the administration needs to, I don't wanna say consider what we're doing wrong, but it feels like a struggle.
Sure.
And so whether, you know, I'd just like to say this, probably if we did what we're doing now, at some point, we would have been better able to accomplish this, but we now have this workshop, and if we would have used our second meeting a month that we weren't having as a workshop, we tried to get that started and really didn't get it off the ground. Had we continued to do that, we may have been able to accomplish this in one regular meeting and one workshop. I'm not advocating for one meeting, by the way, but I'm just saying maybe some real input about either specific days or your feeling about the amount of work being accomplished and the value to the public to show up to meetings where I guess they can create their own, there's things they want to talk about, but in terms of actual interest and decision points, there's a lot of meetings where there just isn't one. Which is maybe good. I don't know.
I guess.
It's a lot of rambling, but,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I guess from my perspective, it's of value to me to have the majority of us here for meetings. Since there's only 5 of us, I feel like when we do have decisions that we need to make, having a consensus and not just a quorum, it would be preferable. And so, yeah, I'm not in favor of making a habit of moving the meetings, but I do think on occasion there's merit to doing that to ensure that we have good representation.
Sure.
Good perspective.
It would seem like in the past that, I don't remember a lot of conflicts, a lot of meetings being moved back when it was on Monday all the time.
Yeah, the first and third.
I don't think a lot of the other agencies have meetings on Mondays.
Or the council meetings.
More than they do.
Well, this is something we can think about. I'm not advocating that we change it tomorrow, but let's be thinking about it. Yes?
The meeting on the 27th, 6 or 6:30?
6.
6?
I have a meeting at 6:30.
Okay.
Unless you're going to the basketball
Yes.
game, then that's at
Third,
6:30.
fourth.
Okay.
And just one thing, when we are looking at when we're going to have meetings, just to make sure to perhaps it doesn't coincide, we do end up changing it with school board meetings on there when they have theirs.
The second.
Theirs are the
I
second
believe it's the
before,
second Monday.
and we're
of the month.
currently conflicting with
Yes.
that on one.
So that makes at least the residents in Pine Bluffs have to to be fair, their meetings don't start until 7. And if
So
we're
changing their
efficient,
time has helped.
it has.
Yeah. Well, I remember
If it's in
having
town.
numerous conversations about what to do here, and
Ah.
this is what we arrived at, but it's not working, or it doesn't appear to be working all that great. So
Hey, you tried something. That's good to try.
It is- See
we'll
if it
think about it
starts.
some more. All right, anything else before the council?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.